Harry, are you good?
Yes, I am, yes.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our regularly scheduled ALCOSAN Board meeting. We will begin with the roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
Here.
Mr. Weinstein? Dr. Gilliam?
Present.
Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Reedshaw?
Here.
Mr. O'Connor?
Here. All right, seeing that we have enough members, and we welcome Mr. Reedshaw. We've haven't talked to you in a while, but glad to hear that you're doing well and you're on the phone call. It makes us all happy. So if we could now,
Thank you.
what was that? Sorry.
I just thank you for your remarks.
Oh, sorry. Well, thank you for being here. Well, see, Mr. Reedshaw, usually when you're on the call, we have more fun. So, you know, these last few calls have been a lot more, you know, dull and relatively boring. So if we could stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and
to the republic stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We will now begin. There are no members here for public comment, so we will go to information item B, the 2021 budget report. I believe Karen's on. Yes, Karen, take it away. Thank you.
Karen, unmute yourself. And while Karen is unmuting herself, I will thank the board for your inquiries and participation over the last few weeks, having received the preliminary draft presentation and draft budgets as delivered to you. And I have previously said I'd like to commemorate this moment because it will be the last budget that the board will vote on with our current Director of Finance and Administration. But seeing that he has already checked out and passed the baton on, I guess I'll just welcome Karen to her new role. Take it away, Karen.
Thank you very much, Arletta. I appreciate that. Could you ask Sheila to please allow me to share my screen, please?
You should have that.
Do you see it on the screen now?
Yeah.
It's on the screen?
On screen.
You can't see
I
it.
believe it is, yes.
Okay.
But if the presenter cannot see it, we can't move forward.
All right, I've got it.
Got it?
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Karen, I just want to interrupt. Good thing you fixed it. We don't want to bring Bill back, so thank you.
I think he would have run kicking and screaming, honestly. But thank you, Arletta. Thank you, members of the board. I'm really
Just teasing you. Just teasing you. Your play calling at last year's meeting was spectacular. So hopefully Karen added some of your digital videos to this presentation.
No, he suggested some Christmas music and some.
Yes.
He had some commentary, but I thought we'll go this year with something a little bit more traditional, and then maybe we jazz it up in future years. So.
Okay. All right.
So we'll see.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I do want to thank Bill, though, for all his help. He has been an amazing mentor throughout this whole process. We wouldn't have been able to do this without him. I also want to thank all the other directors and their managers, because this is truly a group effort. It takes a lot of time and effort to pull all this information together. And again, it wouldn't have been possible without everyone coming together and giving us their all. So that said, let's get started. Let me make sure this works. All right. The budget process, again, we've talked about this a couple times in the past. It's a 5 month long process. We had to reinvent it a little bit this year because of COVID. So some of the procedures that we did had to be done a little differently because we had to do things virtually. It created its own challenges, but in the long run, everything worked very smoothly. And I think we had some good takeaways that we're going to adopt going forward, even when the masks come off. Again, August close. We have 3 days of departmental meetings in October. We have internal reviews. We met with the board in the executive session in November, which you have those books with previously distributed to you. And then this week, you should have received the final copy that included the consulting engineers report, Hatch. Hatch was great to work with again this year. They really have the process down really smoothly, and they've been a great support to us throughout this whole process. Today, we're going to ask for you to approve the budget. Once that is approved, tomorrow we will provide copies to the trustee and get them distributed to where they need to go. Okay, some of the highlights from the budget. We had a 7% rate increase for 2021. This is the last of the rate increases that was approved in 2017. We did a multi-year, 4-year rate increase back in 17 for 18, 19, 20, and 21. What that means is that once we close 2020 and we do the financial statement audit, the auditors will come in as they normally do in February. We will come to the board with those audited financial statements in March. Once that's done, we will immediately start looking at what we think that next multi-year rate increase needs to be. So we will immediately start compiling and analyzing the data, and we will be back with you some point towards mid to second half of 2021 with what we think is necessary for us to do moving forward. Other highlights for the budget, and it provides an additional $6 million for self-funded capital. It increases our clean water assistance payment for the 3rd year in a row to $35 a quarter. That helps out our most vulnerable ratepayers. It improves our coverage and liquidity ratios, and it also meets all requirements of the trust indenture. So what are we asking for? Well, cash requirements are going to be about not quite $320 million. If you look at the operations and the debt service line items, those numbers are really close to what we included in the 2020 budget. They're just up a tick, both line items, so they're real close. Where the biggest increase from 2021 over 2020 is in the capital spending, and we'll look at that here in a second. How are we going to pay for this? We look at our budgeted revenues, our basic and special charges. We're budgeting about $192 million to come from that. Our interest income is non-existent. If we go back to just 2019, we had almost $9 million of interest income. That source of revenue, unfortunately, has dried up. It just doesn't exist anymore. And as you can see from this slide, ALCOSAN doesn't receive any money other than really from the ratepayers. We are solely funded from our ratepayers. If we look at our budgeted expenditures by department, you can see here where we are, what we're expecting to spend by area, by actual department. If we look at our capital spending, this is the biggest line item that increased year over year. And it's not surprising because as Kim talked about it and Arletta talked about, we are here. I mean, we've done so much planning to get to this point in time. It's exciting. It's an exciting time in ALCOSAN because we are putting shovels in the ground. So a lot of these capital projects that we've been planning for are happening now. And so as we progress, those costs are going to increase. So we're expecting to spend $150 million in capital expenditures in 2021. And I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to expect that as we go forward through the Clean Water Plan, those numbers are going to continue to increase. So a couple of the highlights in here, if you look at the North End facilities, that's one of the items that Arletta talked about before. That is under construction right now. That construction is going to continue the whole way through 2021. We look at the Headworks expansion. Again, that construction is starting right now and is going to continue on through 2021 and into future years. The lab and the industrial waste facilities, those buildings have to be relocated because of plant expansion. And so those are in the planning process right now in order to move those facilities and provide state-of-the-art lab and industrial waste facilities that we need here in order to do the work that we do. Again, it's an exciting time to be at ALCOSAN. What does this mean for our ratepayers? The 7% rate increase, what it's going to do is it's going to take our quarterly service charge on the bills from $17.86 up to $19.11. And then the commodity charge, which is the variable charge that's based on usage, water usage, it's going to go from $8.50 per T-gallon up to $9.10. So the average cost per household, we average that looking at about a 12 T-gallon quarterly usage. It's going to take the average annual cost per household from about $480 up to $513, or about $34 a year more. Or if you break it down on a monthly basis, it'll be about $2.82 a year more per household. $2.82 per month per household, I'm sorry. The last thing I wanted to touch on is our credit ratings. As you are aware, in October, we issued new debt. So we had the Series 2020 debt we issued. During that process, we invite the rating agencies to come in. They do a thorough review. They talk with senior management. They look at our financial statements. They ask a lot of really good questions. And we are extremely excited and extremely proud that Moody's upgraded the authority to AA3 from A1. This was done on August 27th. And really what the accomplishment here is that we were upgraded during the pandemic. We were upgraded in a time of extreme uncertainty in the industry and in the world. And for us to achieve that upgrade was amazing. And it is something that really took back, like our underwriters were surprised, our investment folks were surprised. I mean, it was great and well-deserved. We're very proud of that. S&P, who upgraded us the previous time we went out for bonds in 2018, maintained stable with an A+ rating. So we're very happy with where we are with our credit ratings right now. Some of the strengths that the credit agencies look at is that we have consistently strong financial statements. Our debt service coverage ratios are very strong, and we need to continue to do that. They love the fact that we have a long-term rate plan. Those long-term rate increases, those multi-year rate increases, is something that they tout over and over again. They like our experienced management team, and they really also like the flexibility that we have negotiated in the final consent order. What are our challenges going forward? It's no surprise to anyone. Our consent decree is substantial, both in terms of cost and scope. So again, that's going to give any credit rating a pause. We are highly leveraged, and we're going to continue to be highly leveraged. That's what we do. We borrow money, and we use that money to do our capital costs. And we are in the crux of a huge capital program. Factors that could lead to us being downgraded is material declines in liquidity, not having the same debt service coverage ratios that we maintain now. So that is just a kind of an update on where we are from the credit agency side. So that is where we are. That is the budget. I do want to thank the board for any of their questions. I hope we were able to address what they needed to have in order so that when we go and we ask for their approval, you will approve our 2021 budget. Questions?
I don't have any questions. Anybody else? All right, seeing none. Karen, thank you very much. That was a very good report, first time out. I know we do tease Bill a lot, but I think without Bill, some of those credit ratings that you saw would not be where they are. So, Mr. Inks, hopefully you heard the good words that we're saying about you as well. But through all the years, I think as you just mentioned, it's an exciting time to be at ALCOSAN, as well as the region and moving forward. But I think a lot of credit to your whole team for getting that ready, especially, you know, the Moody's report is very, impressive for an authority. And I think that's great news for the board and for all of our customers as well. So now we will move on to the consultant's report from Hatch. And I think Mike is on. There he is. Mike Ryder, take it away.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to conduct a mutiny just momentarily. There are two things. One, we need to step back to the capital projects report, but I apologize. I failed to acknowledge at the beginning of this meeting that the board held an executive session prior to the public meeting. No votes are taken during executive session, and I'm certain the solicitor can't confirm what I just said.
Okay, thank you.
I was just about to send you a text message, Arletta, to remind we needed to announce it, so I put it away.
To say that. Okay, that's my fault.
No, mine.
Also, sorry, I guess I skipped the capital report. Kim, nothing personal, just trying to follow this on my cell phone. I'm skipping lines here. So we will pass it off to Kim Kennedy. See Exhibit A, which is on our screen.
Thank you. So this is the capital budget report, and these are our costs, our 2020 costs through December 10th. My last report was at the October meeting, and just looking back, we spent about $10 million in less than 2 months towards the latter part of this year. And I'll tell you that it's this box right here, the wet weather plant expansion projects, and that's going to continue to grow now that we're in the construction phase of the north end. And then for everybody listening, the East Headworks is out to bid right now. The information is on our website. You can pick up documents here, and the bid is, as of right now, proposed to be, the bid opening is February 17th. And then the other big spend is, obviously in all of the components, the balance of the components of the clean water plan implementation. So we're up to, through December 10th, spending $37 million so far in 2020. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing no questions, now, because I was so excited earlier to get to our annual report, I will now pass it off to Mike for the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman O'Connor, members of the board and staff. I know we have a long agenda today, so I'm going to try to keep my remarks brief. So I want to provide you a little bit of an update on what we've accomplished during the last year as a retained consultant. First off, I'd like to discuss the consulting engineer's 2020 annual report and the fiscal budget for 2021. Hatch worked closely with ALCOSAN staff starting back in October to prepare the report, including the fiscal 2021 budget. Budget meetings this year were held via Teams and were very productive. Special thanks to all staff who provided input, and a special thanks to Karen for successfully guiding this undertaking for the first time on her own. This report is required by the trust indenture dated July 1st, 1997, as supplemented by the 11th supplemental trust indenture dated September 1st, 2018. We're currently providing design services for the Chartiers, Ohio junction access shaft upgrades. We recently completed some additional concrete testing, and we're nearing completion of the design services, which will allow us to go out for bids early in 2021 for this work. The project's providing structural, mechanical, and HVAC and electrical upgrades to the facility. We started a biosolids trends analysis project earlier this year, and we had the pleasure of teaming with Material Matters to perform this task. The project is nearing completion, and the final technical memorandum is being finalized and should be released later this week or early next week. The comprehensive scope of work analyzed trends associated with landfill disposal of lime stabilized and unlimed or unstabilized biosolids, and how these trends impact ALCOSAN's current and future biosolids management strategies. Several workshops and review meetings were held during the project to provide status updates, receive input, and discuss the issues affecting ALCOSAN. The involvement and input from staff were invaluable and very enjoyable to have those meetings and have the back and forth banter and serious discussions. Currently on contract 1674, modifications to diversion chambers A17 and M59, we provided bid phase support and are currently providing CMCI support for this project. Mealy and Mealy and Sons is a construction contractor, and the work is currently scheduled to be complete in early March of 2021. Just to refresh everyone's memory, structure M59 is in Braddock and has an existing 54-inch pipe from the structure that travels down 11th Street to the edge of the Mon River. The area of discharge is near a concrete pad of an existing boat launch, and this project will extend the existing outfall pipe by approximately 20 feet out into the river. In addition, the new structure will be installed at the existing outfall pipe location with an aluminum stop log to prevent river water infiltration during maintenance activities. And then the A17 structure is located near 21st Street in the Strip District. The project includes a new flap gate, new aluminum stop logs with modified roof and riser. The new aluminum stop logs will limit water infiltration into the A17 diversion chamber during maintenance activities, just like on M59. And then finally, just wanted to highlight a couple of miscellaneous projects and engineering support that we've been providing. Currently, we're working with the Army Corps to get approval to be able to do some additional geotechnical investigations on A43 near Highland Park as part of the ongoing wet weather program and the tunneling in that area. We recently completed a utility tunnel evaluation for load rating near the temporary hypochlorite storage area to make sure that the construction traffic and the vehicles that are going to be traveling through that area can pass through and safely not impact the utility tunnel. And we have confirmed that.
Oh, come on, man.
We have some evaluation and engineering support for 032 failure, construction phase support for Island Avenue sanitary sewer projects, and we continue to provide resident inspection services on an on-call basis when it's needed, most recently with the Sawmill Run McKnight Street sluice gate repair. With that, Mr. Chairman, I turn it back over to you. I apologize if I went a little long.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. Seeing no questions, we will move on with the agenda. Item K, we need a motion to approve board meeting for the. Sorry, I just wanted to get Arletta to see if she would see that I jumped to the very
I
end.
know you jumped all the way to the very last item because you're a smart aleck. You're a smart aleck, Mr. Chairman, but that's all right. I still love you.
Thank you. I'm just dangerous in my house all by myself. Like, I don't know what to do. So no, we'll get back to the real agenda. Reports of action by the executive director, see Exhibit B, construction exchange orders less than $30,000, contract 1/17/17, the OMB building repairs from, was it Calabri Contracting?
Caliber.
Caliber, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I will take all four of these together.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Items 2 and 3 are the Clay Street sewer repair. Both are for Clay Street sewer repair, and that is from Costa Construction. And then number 4, and I actually believe Mike just talked about the Mealy and Millie Sons for the diversion chamber A17 and M59. What? Did I do something wrong there?
No,
No.
it's just all of a sudden it went right to Jack's face right when Jack decided to yawn. Don't ask us why, but poor Jack. I mean, you know, we're sitting here minding our own business and it just focused right on Jack.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't know how I did that. I ain't touched nothing.
I know.
I've been boring before, so you yawning while I'm talking doesn't affect me, but thank you.
No reflection on you, by the way.
Okay, board, let's bring it on in. Let's
We need to
come
focus.
back
We need to
together.
focus here. All right.
Change orders for reporting purposes. You are going to have change orders for board action coming up in a bit, but these four are simply reportables. The first one for the O&M building, additional caulking that was required to be replaced. Even though the building is not that old, we had talked before about some leakage that we've been seeing. And just to be very cautious, we're having all of this removed and changed out so there's no water getting in, welling up behind the walls. The second for Clay Street, I believe it's around 20 additional excavations that were required in conjunction with recognition of a can I talk today? Verizon wireless duct bank. Woo. The second Clay Street is simply adding additional time to compensate for the contract. The melee is a time extension that was necessitated by their inability to work early in the red phase shutdown in the state. That is the 4 change orders.
All right, thank you. That leads us to action items. I need for A and B, I need an approval of the board minutes as well as C Exhibit C, our invoices.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion to approve the following contract 1729, the CIPP rehabilitation of the lower Sawmill Run interceptor to SAK Construction at the price of $9,700,000. Bids are received and indicated in Exhibit D. Director?
Mr. Chairman, this contract will finally take us through the last stage of relining Sawmill Run. I believe, and Jan can confirm this, I believe the work began in 2011. This takes us, again, through that last stretch, which is somewhere between 16,000 and 17,000 linear feet to wrap up that whole project. The pricing came in well. Certainly, you can see the close pricing at the end of the spectrum here, and it is definitely in keeping with the engineer's estimate. Recommend award.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That leads us to exhibit or D, motion to approve the following change orders. See Exhibit E that exceed $30,000. Do we want to do all 3 at the same time?
That is fine. I certainly will explain them separately, but you can take it as a single item.
Okay, we'll do 1, 2, and 3 under one motion. Number 1, contract 1722, the WA4 storage building from Shiloh Industries Contractors. The second bill is 1723D, North End Plant Expansion, general for Mascaro. And then number 3 is contract 1723G, North End Plant Expansion, again, Mascaro's construction for an amount of $2,030,000 plus.
Mr. Chairman, the first change order for WA4 storage building. It's another caulking issue, relatively minor, but we certainly do not want to have any intrusion as we are shoring up this new storage building. The second, for the North End plant expansion, this is in relation to taking apart and storing portions of the mooring cells of the 13 mooring cells at the north end of the facility for ongoing litigation purposes. It was recognized after the contract that it would be necessary to not just demolish these units, but some of them were required to be salvaged for litigation purposes. The third change order, which is a significant change at just over $2 million, is also related to the mooring cells, mooring cell demolition. Of the 13 cells that exist, 12 of those cells have the same basic configuration, same construction, which is simply a metal sheeting on the outside there, cylindrical, with a sand gravel fill with a concrete slab on top. Removing and demolishing, or as I previously indicated, storing some of those cells was not much of an issue, and that was the basis of the contract documents, what was required to take care of that basic mooring cell. The 13th, which is actually labeled number 1 mooring cell, is a much more significant, it's a piece of infrastructure, literally. It is not simply a mooring cell. It is an old railroad pump house. It is extremely dense. It is reinforced concrete with interior equipment. It is taking much more to demolish than any of the other 12, because again, it is a completely dissimilar construction. And at this point, this is my recommended upper limit for a change order to address it. We're looking at various means of continuing to extract it, but it is a substantial effort and will take some time. And this cell in particular, as well, all of them had to be removed, but this one is directly in the path of the new river wall that's required to continue with the necessary plant expansion for consent decree compliance.
All right, thank you. Seeing no questions, can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. The motion passes. For Exhibit E, F, G, and H, there was a professional services meeting held for these next few bills. Item E, motion to award human resource information system to Rising and authorize the executive director to negotiate a fee.
Mr. Chairman, we are at a point where we need to procure a full-fledged human resources information management system. Up to this point, we have made use of various means to cobble together a network, whether it's an Access database, an Excel spreadsheet, multiple Word documents. For an organization of this size, it simply does not make sense to continue down that path. We have had an excellent response in terms of those who provide this particular service, and this is the recommendation for Rising.
All right, thank you very much. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Just to item F, motion to award engineering services for tunnel program management to Jacobs and authorize the executive director to negotiate a fee.
Mr. Chairman, as the board well knows, this has certainly been a long time coming. This is the last piece of the program management components for wet weather compliance and development and implementation of the Clean Water Plan. I would ask the Director of Engineering and Construction, Kim Kennedy, to speak to what the tunnel program manager will be providing for us.
Thank you, Arletta. So as you all know, we are wrapping up preliminary planning, which took the components of the infrastructure needed to convey the additional flow to the plant to about a 20% design level. We are ready to take that into the next phase. This tunnel program manager, the first segment will be for 5 years, but we expect to have them on board for the construction of all 3 tunnel legs to provide consistency. They're going to help with controlling the budget, controlling the hydraulics, additional modeling, assisting with property, and all of the other things that will be associated with these pretty major projects moving forward. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Seeing none, I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Item G, motion for modification of service authorization 264. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Bear with me here. For 9 rooftops to continue the scope of work to fund the next phase of the campaign for strategic communications and public relations, an amount not to exceed $1.2 million. Director?
Mr. Chairman, the board will recall that 9 rooftops acquired Mark USA. Mark had been providing these services, and we continue to work to bring more of that capability and capacity in-house. We are making major inroads, but we still require the assistance of a professional communications firm to support us, particularly as we have now benefited from entry of the consent decree and we are moving forward. There is much information that we need to put into the public realm to educate, inform, to bring people along on this journey. Not that we haven't been, but there's more to be done. And for many people, it will become more concrete now because we're not talking about theory. We're not talking about future. We're talking about the here and now present application. 9 rooftops will help us to distill that message and make it meaningful for every audience.
Thank you very much. Director, I would also say, I think the numbers that we talked about last month, how many kids we've reached and how many people we've reached by doing this is definitely well worth it. So thank you very much for your leadership on that. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, that moves us to H, motion to authorize 3 Rivers wet weather to continue working beyond December 31st, 2020. That's pretty straightforward. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, that leads us to item I, motion to authorize the executive director to compensate the government in an amount of $133,000 as part of the project partnership in agreement with the Department of the Army for the Delafield Avenue Stream Inflow Removal Section 219 project.
That's a mouthful, isn't it? See, that's why we placed the Three Rivers item with so few words in it right before it. Just
Perfect.
because we're thoughtful like that. And now, because I could not do this justice the way a director of regional conveyance can. Jan, please.
Thank you, Arletta. Delafield Avenue is another stream removal project. And Jean was successful in getting $3 million in Corps of Engineers funding. So this is the first portion of the project to start the design. And this is ALCOSAN's 25% share towards that program as the non-federal sponsor. So, you know, it's just another one of the many stream removal projects that we are undertaking and have good success in getting excessive flow out of the system. I'll have any questions.
No, I just thank you, and those projects are more important than people give them credit for. So thank you guys for understanding that and continuing to push for that all across all the municipalities that we represent. So thank you for all your work, Jan. If we could have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 Okay, that leads us to item J, motion to modify the grant agreements for the green infrastructure, the GROW program, by extending the terms of the contract, Exhibit F.
Mr. Chairman, just a housekeeping issue, 6 projects, 5 for PWSA, 1 for Sharpsburg. We simply need to extend to keep the process moving.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 All right. That leads us to K, motion to approve board meeting dates for the calendar 2021. If you see Exhibit G, can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 And our last item, motion to adopt the 2020 Consulting Engineers Report, as well as the 2021 Operating and Capital Budget. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Oh, we're voting, aye.
Aye. I didn't hear the motion.
Yeah, I didn't, well, yeah, you know, Corey's just jumping through it really fast.
I try my best. Well,
That's a
that
good-
exhausts our meeting. Does anybody have any new business?
No, sir, we do not.
Seeing no new business, I want to thank everybody over the last couple of months just getting through this process. Stay safe to all of everybody on this call, all of our ALCOSAN employees, especially through the holidays. We wish everybody happy holidays and, you know, happy new year. Hopefully it brings us a better one than this year. And we wish to see everybody in person, hopefully at some point in 2021. So everybody please stay safe. And we'll see you in 2021. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Same to
Thank
you. Same to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yep.
Same to you, folks.
Yep. To all. Bye.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.